All right, so welcome to another video and episode. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a look at Bank of America. It jumps after earnings right now, so things look good. Happy Easter. Hope you had a good weekend. We're going to go ahead and take a look at some of these charts right here, and I'll just give you my personal take. The market is back and open. So after checking out Bank of America here, we've got some stuff going on, and the stock price is pushing higher, even though the market is moving a little bit lower. So we're going to dig deeper into this here right now. I do want to remind you that you could go ahead and check out our Discord channel if you want to check out some other charts that I post periodically, and definitely check out the Traders Fly website. We've got the market seasons for option trading coming out very soon, April 25th. So it'll be a Zoom class live. If you can't attend live, it'll just be recorded. You can watch it afterward. All right, so let's kick things off with Bank of America. Overall, if we go in and check out Bank of America here, and you look at kind of the earnings right here, and I did actually nibble a few things into it today in the live account. When we go ahead and look at it, you've got earnings estimated at 0.75. It went at 0.8. So for me, it doesn't really matter what the earnings are. It matters what the behavior is. And what I see with the behavior is there's a lot of volume that's coming in right now, and it's constantly pushing it into some higher prices. The other thing that I'm watching here is on the daily, it's starting to engulf the past bar right here. So this current bar right now is starting to engulf this. So that's why I was nibbling a little bit more shares into this. And if I look at a little bit of the longer term, this could be an ABCD pattern, kind of back into this range of a double bottom. But really, that's not really a clean chart. So instead, what I'm watching here is if you look at this line right here, if we get above this, this looks like a very crisp and solid level of support. The other thing here is if you kind of look at the other swing levels, like here where we had a panic around July of the previous year and a little bit before that as well, you're kind of getting right into that zone. Right at 37, where you had some serious levels of buying coming in. And that's kind of why I was looking at, hey, let me just take a little bit of a nibble. I'm not looking to, buy out everything because the market is a bit weak, but started nibbling a little bit for maybe even just a possible comeback to 41 or even 45. I'm not, believing like, hey, let's go to 50 next week, but just a little bit as we're looking at it, it's starting to create a little bit of push. Normally, what I will say is wait 3 to 5 days. After earnings to digest the move. So that's why I say, hey, wait a little bit, wait, don't rush into it, because otherwise, if you go too strong, too big, these things can pop and then reverse very quickly. So just be careful when dealing with right after earnings. You want to be a little bit more cautious here. Anyways, so as we look at this Bank of America, and I want to look at a little bit more of the longer term, this stock's been grinding higher fairly well. If you look at this angle, we just kind of look at that triangle right there. It seems to be moving fairly well. And if you just kind of look at just the compression that's been going on, it's been looking pretty good. Now, yes, you could have some problems here and we could go down quite a bit. But, on the shorter term basis, right, this is like 2009, big time crash. And over here, we're looking at already 10, 12 years later. We are kind of getting into this toppy level here. But from this medium term perspective, in the last couple of years, it's not a bad risk to reward here around 35 into about 50. So already we are pulled back from that 50 level to where we're at. We're still down 22%. And here you've had a double top right there where that stock then sold off, tried to come back a little bit, sold off again, and now we're kind of getting back into that zone. So that's why I decided, hey, let me take a little bit of a shot. It's a cheap stock to take some shots on like that. You can definitely do it. And the earnings already happened. That's one of the other reasons I've done it, because a lot of the other stocks that you might say, hey, I'm interested in getting into it. So let's say you're like want to trade Netflix or something, but you've got earnings coming up here in the next day or so. If you want to trade Apple, again, you've got earnings coming up in another week or two. So even though you might want to trade it, earnings are still kind of around the corner. So be a little bit careful. Even stuff like Microsoft, it's coming into a nice maybe support level. But again, it's acting weak and we're waiting for earnings. Yes, it could pop here, but you got earnings right there. So that's kind of why I said, hey, I've got a really light position, more cash heavy right now that I've been dealing with just because the market weakness. Just kind of waiting for some setups to align. And, right now this one is kind of coming in there and I say, you know what, let me take a little bit of shot. If you look at some of the other like stuff like JP Morgan, they don't have as much of those technicals there. Yes, the premium options prices and that kind of stuff looks okay and looks pretty nice. But the technicals are not as there. Wells Fargo, if you take a look, also another bank one. Right here, this one's not bad at a 45 from a technical standpoint. It might be coming in right here, could be basing. But I feel like Bank of America, from the chart on the downside, is a little bit more extended. And that's why I said, hey, let me take a nibble. And then also the engulfing pattern, there's a little more push. It's also a bit cheaper, which just, cheaper stocks, not always meaning that they're better, but you could use less capital from the move. So anyway, so that's kind of my thought here on Bank of America. I think it's not a bad nibbling opportunity. But obviously watch your risk because it is earnings that just happen, fueling the stock. If you look at the SPY right now, we just continue to move lower. We're down about 6 points if you watch here. But look, even right now, as I look into Bank of America, it just continues to push. So that's what I'm seeing is just their strength coming in today. There's not as much chop as you normally would see after earnings. So I like the clean look of it. So I did get into it, some 50-50 option spreads, kind of like right at the money, and got into some of those. From a SPY perspective, you can see we're down about 60 cents. From an SPX perspective, we're down about 7 points. We were down about 15, 16 earlier, but we're trying to pop a little bit. I think we might get into like this level and maybe sell off again. I mean, the market's been acting weak, but we are looking at a possible right here where we just came up, possible pullback right here. And this is where, hey, it's an opportunity where you could actually bounce here because we've been selling off for this little bit. It's kind of like you've been selling off over here and then you get that pop. So now no difference. We're pulling back a bit. So it could be an opportunity to pop here sometime soon. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but you're getting stretched. Could you come back down to this 1-to-1 and retest this? Absolutely. But we're already pulling back quite a bit from this earlier area. So, I'm taking a few little bit longer term directional bets and trades. And that's kind of what I'm watching. But obviously there's a lot of weakness in the marketplace, a lot of fear there coming in with the inflation stuff. You're also looking at a lot of the interest rates. So if this kind of compresses and sells off, that's definitely a big problem for the SPY, and that could be a little bit of an issue for banks. But here, I mean, this one's down already 22%. So I said, you know what? Let me take a few stabs and nibbles on it. So anyway, that's just my take. Hope you enjoyed it. Definitely check out the live classes that we have coming up. There's also a lot of other classes that are recorded that you could take a look at. And I'm always constantly trying to work on some new material and trades deeper for you so that way you really get a good grasp at any individual's trade or strategy. And that is on our website at tradersfly.com. All right. Thanks again for joining me. Enjoy the rest of the week ahead. Trade them well, and I will see you in the next video and episode.